Welcome to the National Greenhouse and Energy Reporting Training video series. This series is delivered by the Clean Energy Regulator and aims to help you report under the National Greenhouse and Energy Reporting Act 2007, also known as the NGER Act. This video will cover emissions and energy reporting thresholds under the NGER Act. There is a range of terms used in this video that have a specific meaning, including Clean Energy Regulator, NGER, Determination, NGER Act, EARS, and Regulation. To learn what each of these means, please refer to the video Introduction to the Clean Energy Regulator and NGER from the NGER training video series available by following the links at the end of this video. This video will cover 5 topics relating to emissions and energy reporting thresholds, including separate instances of a source, consumption thresholds, emissions thresholds, purchased electricity consumption, and on-site generation of electricity. In the first part of this video, we describe what is meant by the term separate instance of a source and what thresholds apply. Section 1.9a of the determination defines the meaning of separate instance of a source as follows. If 2 or more different activities of a facility have the same source of emissions, each activity is taken to be a separate instance of the source if the activity is performed by a class of equipment different from that used by another activity. Take, for example, the combustion of diesel in the engines of distribution vehicles and the combustion of diesel in lawnmowers at a facility. While these activities have the same source of emissions, they are taken to be a separate instance of the source as the activities are different and the class of equipment used to perform the activities are different. Thresholds vary depending on the physical state of the fuel being consumed, solid, liquid, or gas, and whether the fuel is consumed with or without combustion. So, for example, if at a facility 10 tons of brown coal is consumed without combustion to generate coal briquettes, and another 15 tons of brown coal is consumed without combustion to generate coal tar, in total, the amount of fuel consumed without combustion exceeds the 20-ton threshold, and this means it must be reported. In the second part of this video, we will cover the consumption thresholds. What is energy production and consumption? NGER legislation defines the following terms. Fuel means a substance mentioned at items 1 to 57 in Schedule 1 of the regulations. Energy includes the fuels and other energy commodities listed in Schedule 1 of the regulations. Production of energy is defined in Regulation 2.25. It means extraction or capture of energy from natural sources for final consumption by or from the operation of the facility or for use other than in the operation of the facility, or manufacture of energy by the conversion of energy from one form to another form for final consumption by or from the operation of the facility or for use other than in the operation of the facility. Consumption of energy in relation to a facility is defined in Regulation 2.26. It means the use or disposal of energy from the operation of the facility, including own use, and losses in extraction, production, and transmission. There are 2 thresholds for reporting solid fuels. The first threshold applies to combusting solid fuels. You are required to report each instance of a source where the amount of fuel combusted is over 1 ton. It is optional to include data about instances of a source where the amount of solid fuel combusted is 1 ton or less. For example, a facility combusted 1 kiloton of coal briquettes in a boiler to generate electricity. This must be reported because the amount of fuel, in this case coal briquettes, combusted in this separate instance of a source exceeds 1 ton. In addition, the facility combusted 500 kilograms of coal briquettes in its backup industrial water heating system. As this is below the 1 ton threshold, it is up to the reporter whether they wish to include this separate instance of a source in their report. The second threshold applies to consuming solid fuels without combustion. You are required to report each individual fuel type where the amount of fuel consumed without combustion is 20 tons or more. For example, a facility consumed without combustion 10 tons of brown coal to generate coal briquettes, and consumed without combustion another 15 tons of brown coal to generate coal tar. The total of 25 tons of brown coal consumed without combustion must be reported because it exceeds the 20-ton threshold. There are 3 thresholds for reporting liquid fuels. The first threshold applies to combusting liquid fuels other than petroleum-based oils and greases. You are required to report each instance of a source where the amount of fuel combusted is over 1 kiloliter. It is optional to include data about instances of a source where the amount of liquid fuels other than petroleum-based oils and greases combusted is 1 kiloliter or less. The second threshold applies to combusting petroleum-based oils and greases. You are required to report each instance of a source where the amount of fuel combusted is over 5 kiloliters. It is optional to include data about instances of a source where the amount of combusted petroleum-based oils and greases is 5 kiloliters or less. The third threshold applies to consuming liquid fuels without combustion. You are required to report each individual fuel type where the amount of fuel consumed without combustion is 15 kiloliters or more. There are two thresholds for reporting gaseous fuels. The first threshold applies to combusting gaseous fuels. You are required to report each instance of a source where the amount of fuel combusted is over 1,000 cubic meters. It is optional to include data about an instance of a source where the amount of gaseous fuel combusted is 1,000 cubic meters or less. The second threshold applies to consuming gaseous fuels without combustion. You are required to report each individual fuel type where the amount of that fuel consumed without combustion is 13,000 cubic meters or more. This table summarizes the thresholds for fuel production and consumption. Note that there are no thresholds on reporting the production of solid, liquid, or gaseous fuels, so all quantities must be reported. More details can be found in the Reporting Energy Production and Consumption Guideline, which can be downloaded from our website from the Guides and Fact Sheets link at the end of this video. In the third part of this video, we will cover the emissions thresholds. For consumption, once the previously mentioned solid, liquid, or gaseous thresholds are met, all emissions must be reported. That is, there are no thresholds on the quantities of reportable emissions. For production and associated fugitive emissions of coal, oil, gas extraction, and carbon capture and storage, there are no thresholds. All production and emissions must be reported. For more information on methods from fugitive emissions, refer to Chapter 3, Fugitive Emissions in the Determination, or follow the links under Guides and Fact Sheets at the end of this video. There are no thresholds for production and associated emissions from the industrial processes used in manufacturing mineral, chemical, and metal products. All production and emissions must be reported. For further information on methods from industrial process emissions, refer to Chapter 4, Industrial Process Emissions in the Determination, or follow the links under Guides and Fact Sheets at the end of this video. Section 5.2 of the Determination summarizes the thresholds for solid waste. This applies to emissions released from the decomposition of organic material from solid waste disposal in a landfill, or the biological treatment of solid waste at a landfill or at a facility elsewhere, as well as the flaring of landfill gas. For solid waste disposal in a landfill and the biological treatment of solid waste at a facility, whether at a landfill or at a facility elsewhere, the thresholds are that the landfill was open for the acceptance of waste on and after 1 July 2012, and that during a year, the landfill emits more than 10,000 tons of carbon dioxide equivalents. In the fourth part of this video, we define the electricity production and consumption thresholds. If your facility has a generating unit for producing electricity on site, you must report production and consumption of electricity for each generating unit that has the capacity to produce at least 0.5 megawatts of electricity and produces over 100,000 kilowatt hours of electricity in the reporting year. For example, a gas power plant has two generating units. Both units have a maximum generation capacity of 20 megawatts, exceeding the generating unit threshold. Unit 1 is used more than Unit 2 during the year, producing 10 million kilowatt hours of energy, whereas Unit 2 only produced 90,000 kilowatt hours. Unit 1 is over the annual generation reporting threshold, but Unit 2 is under. This means that Unit 1 must be reported. However, under Regulation 4.19, the production from Unit 2 does not need to be reported, and under Section 2.68 of the Determination, the consumption does not need to be reported. If you import your electricity for consumption, either from another facility, the main electricity grid, or a grid other than the main grid, you may need to report the consumption of that electricity. For electricity consumed that was not generated by a generating unit at the facility, the reporting threshold is 20,000 kilowatt hours under Section 2.68 of the Determination. This video is from the NGER training video series. The Clean Energy Regulator has published a range of resources on its website, www.cleanenergyregulator.gov.au, to help you in your obligations to report under the NGER Act. To access our training video series, visit our website and search Videos. To access our more comprehensive written guidance documents, visit our website and search Guides and Fact Sheets. To access calculators to assist you in assessing reporting obligations, estimating uncertainty in emissions, and estimating emissions from solid waste and wastewater operations, visit our website and search Calculators. For more information or help with reporting under the NGER scheme, please contact us by calling 1300 553 542, emailing us at reporting@cleanenergyregulator.gov.au, or visiting our website at www.cleanenergyregulator.gov.au. This video has been developed by the Clean Energy Regulator to assist persons to comply with their reporting obligations under the NGER Act. This video should be viewed in conjunction with the NGER Act and supporting regulations and determination. Changes to legislation may affect the information in this video. The examples used in this video are for illustrative purposes only. This video is not intended to provide legal advice. If persons have concerns or questions about the application of legislation in their particular circumstances, they should seek professional advice.